Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk, guys. Welcome back. We're going to do some more kind of back to basics stuff here. You can see we've got Captain Clink from Clan Devon. He's in his Chi-Ri Tier 7 Japanese medium tank autoloader. This is a weird, it really is a weird little tank. It's an autoloader on the Japanese line, of which there is exactly one, this one. So you kind of got this boxy World War II design up to the Chi-Ri, which is more of a fantasy possible tank iteration further on from the tanks that they actually built. And then they've got this weird little autoloader in it. Then at Tier 8, it goes to post-World War II, quite a bit actually, before the Japanese started kind of making their own tanks again or looking at developing their own tanks. So the Tier 8, 9, and 10 are all post-World War II design. So it's this boxy, kind of slow, lots of hit points, no armor, giant medium with a weird little autoloader that does 130 alpha, and it has 3 shots, which it will put downrange very quickly, and it will actually reload pretty quickly as well. Reload the clip. So very strange little tank, but 390 alpha or 390 potential burst damage out of the little autoloader, and you think about that at Tier 7, provided you hit and you pin and you get the 130 roll, you can get up to 390 or more if you get some high rolls in a quick little burst. That's like running around with a 122 millimeter on a medium at Tier 7. So very interesting. But this was sent by Captain Clink. I helped him about a year ago with something, and he sent this to me. We're going to take a look at it. And the back to basics part is we're going to talk a lot about positioning on this one. A lot about positioning and a lot about the match awareness. And we're going to start with analyzing the match, the map, and talking about where to go. All right? Because what happens here, and I'll just read what he says. When he got the autoloader, it kind of opened up his eyes to the possibilities. He says, it's a far cry from Uber. I actually kind of liked it quite a bit. It can pack a punch, which I just talked about. It says he spent the first few minutes at the back expecting our lights to provide targets. We'll talk about that. That did not happen, so I decided to take some pot shots, hoping to shake things up. That did not happen. I noted we did not push into the city, but when they started to cap, I knew that I had to make some kind of effort to deny them and not just hand it over. All right, so that is how he saw it. Let's take a look at it, and we'll talk about how I saw it. As always with these things, take any of my advice or opinions, take it or leave it, right? If you like what's there, then use it. Use some of it, use none of it, however you want to look at it. But we're going to talk basic positioning because it is probably one of the hardest things for people to understand in this game, especially when they're new and trying to figure things out. So we have a medium tank, and we're top tier in a 3-tier battle. We're a Tier 7, and there's only 4 Tier 7s on each side. One of them happens to be an Arty. So there's a P-43TR, a Super Hellcat, and a light over on the other side. There's various mediums to the middle. Got a KV-1 on the other side, and some Arty. We're here on Lakeville. We're on encounter mode. And if we take a look there, we prove, yes, it is Lakeville. Encounter mode, right off the bat, and this is where you've got to understand maps, the mode that you're playing, and the game. All of this kind of comes together. What we're trying to do is remove all of the enemy's hit points off the board, or cap if I can't do that. And if I'm going to cap, I need to set conditions to cap. Remember that on encounter, setting conditions to cap is not that easy because it takes a long time to cap. So just bull rushing a cap on encounter is not necessarily a great idea. You've got to set the conditions. That being said, one way to set the conditions is to have the enemy team or yours for the enemy team put an investment, a large investment over in the west in the Bloody Valley. On this particular map and mode of encounter, do not go valley. It's entirely useless. Somebody probably needs to watch it, maybe a tank or two, but don't let it be you. And don't let it be you if you're the top tier, one of the best tanks in the match. Do not go there. Now, he doesn't do this, so we're going to let this go. Where do you go? Well, for my money, you go into the city. You take your top tier Chi-Ri with that 390 burst potential, you drive right down into the city, and you start absolutely wrecking people. You do have to play the match and not the map, so you watch where your team goes, and I see a decent push going towards the city, and unfortunately, some pretty good tanks going over towards the valley. That's not ideal. The T-25-2 especially, if you had had him and you go into the city, this thing would have been an absolute massacre. Now, we're going to hang out here. We haven't even moved, right? We're hanging out where we spawned. We're in a bush, and you said we're waiting for the lights to get us some lights. Well, here's the problem with your plan right here. The only shots you're going to get based on draw distance, if you look at the circle, is going to be somebody who comes down the road. All right, so somebody comes down the road, which isn't going to happen because you don't have any lights down here. You don't have any lights moving around here. You don't have any lights on the road. The only way then is they're going to come all the way up really forward. So right off the bat, as I'm looking at this, I go, all right, my plan was to maybe get some sniper shots. I already know it's not happening. It's time to start moving. All right. However, like I said, into the city is where you needed to take this thing. We're going to shoot a bunch of shots into these bushes. Remember, if you see it hit behind there, it obviously didn't hit a tank, so it doesn't look like there's anybody in that bush. The T25/2, unfortunately, and the 40 TP, which are both pretty good tanks, are over in the valley. Not a lot you can do about that. Now you can note that there's a JPZ-4 in the valley. There's the light tank. Oh, by the way, did you notice that? You definitely need to work on your map awareness, your mini map awareness, and what that is you just need to have a cross check. As you shoot, and an autoloader is a great one for this. If you shoot the clip of an autoloader, back off your eyes and take a quick look down right at the map. And even zoom out. I'll do something like this and look around and go, what's going on? Yeah, those guys are there. Some of those guys over there. Oh, geez, look at that. There's that AMX. And maybe if I just scoot up a little bit, I probably have shots on that guy. So he's still lit, still lit. The IKV dies. And we've just decided we're going to shoot bushes, right? It doesn't matter what shows up. All right, now let's assess further what's going on. They've got a couple guys in the valley. Looks like maybe our valley push is going to do okay. That depends on how many guys they've got camping at like J2 or so. We'll find that out later. Their light tank's in the middle. Pretty useless, actually, to be in the middle. If he can come through the middle and get behind you into your arty, that's a bummer. But that's not really a great spot for him. If you were already in the town with your Wolverine, your 2 mediums, and this 1357 who gets in there in a minute, you guys would have absolutely eaten up the forces they put in town. Absolutely eating them up. And here we are, we're just shooting into bushes. We're shooting into the bush and shooting into the bush. These are what's called low percentage shots. And we are closing in on 2 minutes into the game, and we have 0 damage. Unless we happen to hit somebody in a bush. We're still poking at bushes. Now we're going to poke at this kind of known spot up here. That goes short. No, it doesn't look like there's anybody sitting there. Down goes the Wolverine because he went into town. The Cheeto is in there attempting to cap. Notice it's got 3 minutes, guys. So on encounter, do not go and sit on cap in encounter mode. Don't do it. It's just not a great idea. It lets them know you're there, for one thing. And you're passive, right? You're not attempting to make shots or create shots. And all of a sudden, we're down 1-3, largely in the city where you should have been, and things are kind of going sideways on us already. So now we're looking at maybe where the 1357 was. And you said I was going to shoot into some bushes. I can't remember what you said. How long did you say you stayed here? A couple minutes? First few minutes at the back. Okay. So first few minutes. 2 minutes and a half. Early damage, guys. Early damage is how this game is won. While preserving your vote, preserving your hit points. But the earlier you can get your damage and start removing their hit points off of the map, the better. Good job noticing that the Hellcat got lit. So we take some shots into there. You might have hit him once or twice. I don't know. Looks like the last one certainly did not. And now we're finally moving into the town. But the problem is we allowed so many guys to die in town already. We allowed so many guys to die in town. Even the M12 has decided he's just going to go into town and try to do something. And now you're playing catch-up. 0 damage, 0 assist. Your entire town died. The T-3485M sat out in the back with you. 1357 starting to get pushed. He's just trying to hide and survive. And your instinct to get in there was right, except it was just way, way, way too late. You needed to be in there. I mean, you could have been in here just absolutely waylaying these guys with this tank. Top tier. You have to, in my opinion, in this game, you have to, when you're top tier, you're living for this kind of matchup. This is the matchmaker you're living for. You want to get that top tier into the fight as fast as possible. Now we're going to come in here, we're going to take a shot, and we're going to back out. And I have no idea why. That next shot, as soon as I get control here, that next shot you had immediately, his gun wasn't online. It wasn't even pointing at you. Just bam, bam, get rid of this guy. Okay? Bam, bam, get rid of this guy. There we go. So we get that guy dead. All right, so we come out of that. Let's talk real quick, another basic thing about the reloaders and hitting the letter C that forces a reload. If you take a couple shots and you're down to 1 or 2 shells, if you don't immediately have another shot, or you're maybe worried about getting pushed or something, you need to be hitting C, right? So that, especially because of how fast this one will reload the whole clip. You go bang, bang, kill him, pull back, hit C, get your new clip, and now start working on the stir. What we do is we goof around with this one shell. We're kind of poking forward, and like, oh my gosh, if I can just push this guy out of the way, maybe I'll get a shot. No, okay, I'll ram in there, and we'll shoot him once. Bink. And, oh, okay, now we have to reload. Just imagine if you'd have pulled back, got the reload, and I think I would have been coming to the other side of this thing just so I could get a better shot instead of fussing around. The problem with what you're doing is oftentimes you will shoot the barrel of the dead tank exactly like that. So he's kind of busy. Nice job coming in here. We just bank. And that's what you should have done to the P43 TR earlier. Boom, boom. Just take him right down. Now hit C. You don't immediately have shots, right? That's the key right there. You do not immediately have shots. So hit C, move back, get already safe, hit C, wait a second, go, where am I going next? And probably behind you because you got a T-37 that just showed up. We finally hit C, and here he is. We do this, and we just, I thought you were going to spin the whole hole while you had time because you were on a reload, but you actually come around backwards, you're going to need another shot for it, I think. Nope, he didn't quite get a reload. All right, maybe it was ammo racked. Nice job. You take him down. We got 3 kills. Hit C. Once again, there's no reason to sit there with 2 shells. Hit C, and now we have to decide, all right, what are we going to do? Well, I see the Super Hellcat. I would immediately start looking for a way to get shots on the Super Hellcat. Anytime I see a red icon on the map, I am going to go like this. Camera technique. Do I have a shot? No, I don't. But there are some openings. Maybe I just head straight down here and I look for a shot on that guy. But we kind of wander up this way, and we're still sitting on 2 shells. And then we turn, and the Super Hellcat's still fighting people, and we're just sitting here on cap. Okay, so get the damage. Look at the mini-map. Find your next shot. Don't wait for the next shot to come to you. Don't sit on cap and go, okay, now I'm capping. Go find the next damage. Always be looking. Always be moving towards that next shot. And we should have reloaded our clip ages and ages ago. So the grill gets to 25-2, and things are not completely wonderful. It's looking pretty good, but we've got a T-67 and 3 artillery. And there goes the 1357. He's reloaded. He wants to get in there and maybe get after the T-67. And we got the grill up here, so noted. We know where he is. And we kind of come around here. There we go. Looking good. Looking good. Take a shot. Oh, and he just gets away. And you know what? Maybe if we had that 3rd shot, we might have poked it in there and got rid of him. Now, I would start moving. Let's get out of this spot. And I would want to go up top and around this way and come get rid of this grill. I don't want to drive around in the middle because the T-67, they can just fire away. And yeah, he's probably not in that bush, but there you go. You approved it. Now let's move this way. You're going to get lit. And holy cow, there we go. We have a shot. Nice. Get rid of him. Hit C and reload. Just hit C and reload. So we're just going to, oh, do I have a shot? Nope. And we're just driving around. There we go. Now we're going to go ahead and reload. Now I'd be very careful about this. My problem here is you're out in the open and the T-67 can see you. Zoomed in way too much. Yeah, so I would zoom out. I like the zoom, but I'd be more like this, where I can get a bigger picture of where he is and then put this guy, the pipper on him, so you get a highlight. Finally get some shots, and unfortunately, because we missed, we're not able to kill him. So we auto-aim him, and now it's just us and 2 artillery. And oh crap, the T-67 has our number. We take a hit. We're trying to get up here. We take another hit. 249. We're going to take another hit. 375. Already is shooting at us. Take another hit for 500. And we finally kill this guy. And holy cow, did we lose a lot of hit points. Really surprised he didn't shoot you again right here. Alright. Let's talk about approaches and minimizing exposure. And I always like to look for bushes and things. I think right here, since you put the rock between you and the T-67, I would wait until I was until I was no longer stunned, and I would back straight back and around this rock. And then I would just disappear back around that way and head back into town potentially, rather than give him any more shots. You know he's right there. They have pretty good view range. Looks like we're going to back. I thought that's what you were going to do, and then we open. We go across the open, and we bink, take a hit. And holy cow, we took 2 more hits we didn't need to take. And that hurt. It also got our engine and our ammo rack, so we're kind of in big trouble. Good news is that they got rid of the enemy arty, so that's fantastic. You're not going to get bombed to death. You've got 50 seconds before you're going to get the number 4 back. I think I pushed straight forward up here into this bush that's on the edge and take a quick peek. See if I can't catch him moving around. So we'll move up. We've got 5 kills, 1,305 damage, and 15 assists. We go up there, we don't get lit, and there we go. He's on the run. And we see him. We're going to take a shot. Bink, miss, and we took another one and got him. Okay, fantastic. 6 kills, 1,316 damage, 15 assists. It's a win. It's a top gun. Did a nice job preserving your vote, keeping your tank in the game. But I have to tell you, the initial positioning nearly cost your team. It should have cost your team. You took the top tier tank and you were not in the fight for about 3 minutes. And it might have been over 3 minutes by the time you finally really got into town and started doing anything. So there's a difference, in my opinion, from preserving my hit points as my only real goal in my positioning, and preserving my hit points while making my best positioning decision. And your best positioning decision, in my opinion, was to get into town and start doing some damage. Preserve, be careful on your trades, pop out when you're able to put all 3 shots down range. The cool thing about this little autoloader is, even though everything at this tier reloads pretty quickly, I think it's a second between shots. This thing will put 3 shots down range so fast, it's inside of almost every other tank's reload, even just getting all 3. It's not like the French autoloader that takes a long time to really get them all down range. It's bang, 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 and then you're back out. So its ability to poke in cities is pretty good, especially when it's top tier like this. And I would say that if that 1,300 damage was shifted forward in time 2 minutes, i.e. you were doing it earlier, you would still have another 3 tanks alive or so, and it wouldn't have even been close. This would not have even been close. The only way it would have been bad is if you just YOLO into town and die. And this is why people stop doing that, because when they're new to the game, they'll go into town like, all right, I know that's where the critical fight is. I'll get in there and start fighting, and then they play it poorly. They trade too much of their hit points for the damage they do. They die, and then they start backtracking. Go, well, how do I stop from dying early? Well, I stop from dying early by hanging out on the red line, and I'll maybe shoot at some bushes. Now you've got to try to bring yourself out of that. And when you get a situation like this where you're top tier, especially in a 3-tier battle like this is absolutely the time to practice getting up front and smashing people, because you got a really good setup. There were no heavies that you're going to have a whole lot of trouble with. It was the P-43, the Super Hellcat, and the 1375. Now, the P-43 hits hard. You want to avoid I think it's 240. I want to say it's tier 7. It might even be a 300 alpha gun. I can't remember. It does hit hard, so you wanted to be careful of that. But you know what? You're trading 390 if you pen every shot in there. All right, man. I hope this helped. Nice game. Work on that early game positioning and assessing the match and looking at it and going, hey, I think I can be a little more effective earlier and maybe keep a few of my guns in the game, and it won't be so close. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I hope this helped. If it did, go ahead and throw me a follow, subscribe, whatever the case may be. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see ya.